there, welcome to Life Essentials. I'm Isaac and this is Danny, and we're so excited that you're joining us.
In case you're with us for the first time, Life Essentials is all about exploring some of the biggest topics that we as young people are wrestling with. And in today's episode, we are talking about
No, there's no way that was your first time. No, absolutely not. Like, you definitely played this before. Pull up your phone. I want to see your screen time because you've definitely got the mobile version of this.
And I just salty. How about instead of asking me about my screen time, let's hear what some young people have to say.
Could you last 24 hours without your phone? I've done it.
Done it. Oh.
No, that's because I have tried it before. I lost it at the beach. I couldn't find it, and then I used someone else's phone.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. I've done it before.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard.
I think just when I go camping, there's no reception.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Like if I was camping, there was absolutely no service and I just couldn't go on it. Or I'd like actually lost it, but if it was like in my sight, I feel like I just forget.
I had a broken phone recently before I upgraded, and I had lost it about a week. First couple of days were bad, but then I got used to it.
No, I don't think I can. If I've got me, my board, the ocean, I don't need a phone. I don't care what people are doing, so it's great.
If I was like really like busy with like exams.
Yeah.
Or if like someone stole my phone.
Over the last 125 years, screens have played a more increasing part in our everyday life.
Wait, hang on. 125 years, seriously?
Yeah, 125 years. Like, Danny, did you know that the first ever digital display was actually in 1897?
Whoa, I'm assuming technology has changed a bit since 1897. I wonder if they had Fortnite back then.
Okay, I don't know if they had Fortnite, but what I do know is that research at the moment is telling us that we're roughly spending about 4 hours and 10 minutes glued to our devices every day. That for teenagers aged between 14 and 17, we're spending up to 17 hours online. And studies showing that by the end of our lives, we're probably gonna spend 34 years of it glued to our devices.
34 years, gosh. You know, I really think that it's not just about how much time we're spending with our screens, but it's also how it affects us.
Absolutely, Danny. Which is why in this episode of Life Essentials, we're going to be looking at screen time and the impact it has on our physical and mental well-being.
Social media is a tsunami of excess information at warp speed. My name is Sabrina Peters. I'm a provisional psychologist as well as a pastor. There has been that huge shift in terms of digital technology has increased 100-fold over the last 10, 20 years. There is a huge evidence base of research and literature that shows that excessive social media use is increasing a lot of mental health disorders, so things like depression, anxiety. Teenagers are feeling more lonely, although they're more connected. You know, they've got more friends online, but they feel more isolated. The evidence is showing that media, that digital technology does have an impact on somebody's mental health as well as their overall well-being.
I feel like my social media friends are my in-person friends.
Yeah.
I have actually just culled through my friends list. There was a part of me that was just wanting to sticky beak in other people's lives, and I really have no connection to them anymore.
Personally, I don't like talking to people who I don't know in real life.
There's a different level of depth that I have with my personal friends and my social media friends. Everything that I share on my social media is very curated. It's more like a highlight reel of all the good things that happen. But when I'm going through a tough time, I wouldn't really share that with my social media friends.
All my social media friends are the people that I talk to in real life.
And even models, like I don't know about you guys, but so much can come from that. I've had an eating disorder as a result of social media.
It's real.
And so it's real.
You can scroll for hours and you're seeing something new, a new video, a new TikTok. If you're on YouTube, you know, you're not watching the same 15 minutes, and we get these little dopamine hits. We post something, we get a comment or we get a like, or people start to engage with us. It's like these little feel-good chemicals in our brain are actually released, and that's one of the reasons why so many young people, there's an appeal, but there's also that potential for addiction, because we become really hooked on that dopamine hit that consistently takes place. Like a lot of young people might wake up in the morning, they grab their phones and they check. And that in itself is like, it's this loop, it's this feedback loop, it's this social validation loop. Like who doesn't love somebody talking to them or validating them or saying, hey, that's a great picture, looked like you had fun.
Like I remember when I first got a phone, I was like, oh, I'm not going to get addicted to this. I often found myself like, doom scrolling, having the need for it as well.
It's so hard though, because I'm like, oh, like I'm not addicted to my phone. But then I realize I'm like, the amount of time I spend on my phone, it's like concerning.
When I don't have my phone, I miss it.
Last year I was very addicted to my phone and I'd scroll for a good 3 to 5 hours every day.
I struggled to like put it down.
I'm thinking like before I go to bed I'm gonna have an hour of phone time. It turns into 2 hours and then like I can't stop because it's like the next thing I feel like I'm gonna miss out on. So I just keep on going and going and I don't stop.
Research shows that excessive screen time, and that's I guess a key word as well. It's not like, oh, I looked at my phone, I'm feeling more anxious. It's this excessive use, it's this addictive use can increase rates of anxiety. Developmentally, teenagers are asking those questions, who am I? Like, who am I? What are my values? How do I fit into the world? And so you put a picture up of yourself and someone says something negative, you're quite susceptible to take that on board and to be kind of impacted by it. And it's a little bit of a paradox that more people think the more friends I have online, the more followers, like the more connected I am, when in reality, it's real life connections that actually serve as a bit of a protective factor and a buffer in, you know, I don't want 100 people to think I'm a great person. I want those closest to me to know who I am. Sometimes we kind of forfeit the love of a few people for the likes of the multitudes. I think one of the first steps is just to become aware of how much you actually use your phone. My husband and I always laugh because I would always say to him, babe, you're on your phone so much, you're on your phone. And then we looked at both of our screen times and I was on more.
I think my average screen time is close to like 8 to 12 hours a day.
We talk about like daily or weekly?
Far out. It's actually so bad.
Touchy subject?
Oh no.
It would be too high, that's all I can say.
Probably like 4 hours.
Mine's like 8 hours. Mine would be like 8 hours.
When I'm not working, it's 7 hours, 25 minutes.
So mine is 6 hours and 25 minutes.
Yeah.
It's down 6% from last week.
Okay.
Wins.
We take the win.
I like to procrastinate, so I don't do much work.
Oh yeah.
So it's probably like up in the 4 hours.
Yeah, I reckon mine's like 8 hours a day.
But in the holidays, it's even worse.
I'm not allowed to touch my phone until 6 o'clock at night, so I only have like 2 hours every day.
10, 12 hours?
Wow, yeah.
Last week it was 6 hours. I hope my parents don't see that.
So become aware of how much you use your phone is kind of the first step. Secondly, you can use practical things like set timers, set limits. If you're noticing that you're on multiple hours, 3-4 hours on specific apps, set a timer. You know, maybe even not having your phone next to you when you go to sleep, so it's not the first thing you touch, because it does kind of kick in certain things if it's the first thing you're looking at in the morning and you're like, say, checking all your accounts. And even if it's just a little bit reduced, like there's minimal reduction, that's a step in the direction of you actually being in control of how you use your phone instead of your phone controlling you.
And I think I fall into it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I do it because I'm bored. And then after that, I feel pretty empty, to be honest.
Yeah. Because I don't really know how to deal with my emptiness, so I just go to the one thing that everybody does, which is just like blur it out and feel this numbness. So I go to TikTok, I go to Instagram, I watch those reels thinking that I'm being filled with something, with knowledge or just like new information, but at the end I'm just like feeling nothing, and I'm just trying to numb out what I'm really feeling. So then at night, like I don't sleep because I'm thinking about the things I was meant to think about while I was scrolling.
Yeah, you're always searching for like to fill that void inside yourself, so it's almost like just this way to numb it.
When you start to have thoughts of comparison, or when you start to think, hey, my life doesn't seem that fun or that perfect or that great, remember that it is just a part of a person's life, and it's oftentimes the best part, you know, that self-presentation of the ideal self. Really, the antidote is knowing who you are. So developing this strong sense of identity, knowing that you have innate worth, you have innate value, and you don't need to wait for somebody else to tell you that you are actually loved, and that you are acceptable and that you belong. You don't need to do all of these things to be liked by people, but it's really important how you view yourself, and you have the opportunity every day to love yourself and to accept yourself for who you are.
What a great interview that was.
Yeah.
I never realized, I guess, the correlation between screen time and my mental health. Although you maybe figured that out because of my reaction before.
Yep. Yes. Yep. You got to lay off the games, Isaac.
Yeah.
I guess without realizing it, screens can become really addictive. And if we don't put some boundaries in place, we might end up losing so many great things in our life without realizing it.
Yeah, like I think of gaming and social media, and it kind of traps us into this cycle of consuming, where we always feel empty and like we don't have enough.
Yeah, that's so true. And as a follower of Jesus, I need to remember that he has invited me to be a contributor to my community, not just a consumer. It's not that screen time is bad, it's just harmful if it gets out of balance, you know?
Where it's almost like if we're so addicted to our screens, we might be missing out on some of the great experiences that life has to offer and relationships.
Yeah, and it's like Sabrina said, we don't need to become slaves to our screens. Ultimately, I've realized that just like any addiction, sometimes we need the help of others, someone to talk to.
It reminds me of what Jesus said when he said, hey, come to me and I'll give you life and life to its fullest. So maybe if we're questioning where to go first, that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, that's right. Now, this is the part of Life Essentials where you discuss with your friends. And today's question is this: what changes would you like to make when it comes to your screen time? Wow, what a great episode.
Danny, I loved it. And the best part is there are more episodes coming for you.
Yeah, don't forget, Life Essentials is designed to be a shared experience with your friends.
And we'd love to hear from you, so you can get in touch with us via our socials or by visiting our4youth.io. Besides that, see you later.